Are you guilty of making these mistakes with your money? Well, I'm about to share 8 common mistakes I see people making in their 20s. Okay, so let's just dive right into the very first thing I often see. Number 1, spending way too much money on education. Now, that is not to say you can't go to college or education is not valuable. But what I'm saying is there are options out there like in-state tuition in particular. There's also vocational school or trade schools depending on what you want to do in life. Also, community college. Don't underestimate the value of going to community college first and then maybe transferring to a state school. And then, of course, no formal education. Not every career needs to have a college degree, so be mindful of that. Don't think that just because you get a college degree, you're automatically going to get a job somewhere else that maybe you're interested in. Well, that doesn't necessarily apply, okay? There are plenty of jobs where you can get that position without a degree. Like, say you want to be in real estate and you want to buy and sell real estate and you want to, be a broker. You don't need a college degree for that. Now, again, if you are going into a field like being a doctor or an engineer where you are required to have these certifications and have this amount of education, totally fine. But again, look at ways you can be saving money in doing so. I would avoid taking out student loans if at all possible, so do pay attention to my number 2, which is working more, okay? When you are in your 20s, you have more energy than you probably ever will in your entire life, and usually you have less of a fiscal responsibility. There are usually less people that depend on you, so work. This is the time to put in the time, the effort. It'll pay dividends later on, and of course, you're trying to up your skill set. And when you are looking at the next career or making that next move, the fact that you are a really hardworking employee is going to pay off and you're going to stand out when it comes down to you and somebody else. So if you are broke, you need to be at work, okay? No excuse, no reason to be sitting on the couch, being lazy. Get motivated and work. Work your butt off. Now, the third mistake I often see people making early on in their 20s, financing or leasing a car. I am guilty of this. So I can speak here from experience, but avoid it, okay? If I could go back in time and stop myself from going and financing a car, like within the first year of getting out of college, I would do it in a heartbeat because A, it's a waste. Cars are a depreciating asset, and now you're gonna go pay a bunch of interest on something that's depreciating in value. It makes no sense. And also, you don't need it, okay? You can get a reliable car for cheap, okay? Grandma's hand-me-down car. It's a great vehicle, okay? You don't need the newest, latest, greatest thing. You're only thinking you do. Just because you look good on Instagram doesn't mean that it's actually going to be a good investment or a good decision. So don't do it. You're going to spend so much on interest, especially if you're a first-time buyer, and it's going to be old in a couple years anyway. So do yourself a favor. Take the money you would have spent on car payments, on the interest, and invest it, okay? That brings me to number 4, not saving for retirement. This is a huge mistake and a missed opportunity when you are younger and in your 20s. Compound interest is your best friend, and you are going to see so much more growth if you start investing in your 20s versus waiting until your 30s or 40s. I guarantee it. Just throw that into one of those calculators. And in fact, I will share a link to one of my favorite calculators when it comes to compound interest. But the point is, start saving, even if it's a little bit. Just start putting something away systematically for retirement. Start investing. So the 5th thing I often see, young people in particular not having a monthly budget. Now, I don't care where you are in life, you need to have a budget because you need to know what's coming in and you also need to know what's going out. I have a budget. We live by our budget. It's fantastic. It's actually not restraining. It's actually freeing because I know exactly where everything is going. And if I'm ever uncertain about buying something or not sure what's coming up next, I can just reference my budget, which I love. So have a budget regardless of where you are in life, but especially in your 20s because every dollar does count. Which brings me to number 6. when you are in your 20s, you need to start making sure you are not spending more than 90% of your income, okay? You're getting too close to that ceiling. Nobody should be spending more than they make, obviously, but you definitely don't want to get beyond that 90%. And here's why. You need to be saving. You need to have a little bit of cushion so that you can build up an emergency fund. Again, you need to be saving for retirement, some investments. Things happen in life, and sometimes they don't knock on the door and come through the front door, right? They just kind of explode on the scene, and we don't know. So emergencies will happen, and you need to have some money that is available, that is liquid, so you don't have to go into debt, don't have to put everything on a credit card, so you have cushion. Now, as you get older and as you get, maybe more settled into a career or you move careers, you'll have more margin. But in your 20s, this is probably the least amount you're ever going to make in your life. So be mindful of that. And again, start building that solid habit so that when you do come into more money, you've already established a habit of saving. Number 7, living on your own. When you are in your 20s, again, you don't usually have a large family. You don't usually have to worry about other people. Maybe you have a spouse. Take the opportunity to have roommates. Make sure that if your parents are offering you a great place to stay with a roof over your head and it's comfortable, you take them up on that offer as long as possible and pay them some rent too. Don't be completely a slacker here. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to make sure that your largest expense, which is usually housing, is as cheap as possible, especially early on in your 20s, so that you can again save that for retirement, purchasing your own home or a condo, something like that, so that you're able to get out on your own and have that cushion and have margin. So this is a huge mistake. Just because you're allowed to go live on your own doesn't mean you should. So many people end up basically broke or house poor because they can't afford anything else, because they're paying over half of their income just on rent to live somewhere. And my number 8, my last one, trying to fit in. Yes, when it comes to money, you are not there to impress other people. You don't need the latest, greatest, fanciest, whatever. And to be quite honest, most of the people you see on social media who are flashing all the stuff they have, they're broke. So don't listen to haters, don't listen to friends, family, whoever's pressuring you to do certain things or have certain things. You don't need it, okay? You are good enough the way you are. You don't need to have extra things so that you can validate yourself to the world. That's just nonsense. So, especially in your 20s, don't succumb to peer pressure. Learn to say no. Just because your friends go out every Thursday or Friday to happy hour or whatever it is, doesn't mean you should be. You should be busting your butt and working. So, those are my 8 mistakes. Things I see happening all too often, especially for people when it comes to their money in their 20s. Thank you so very much for watching today. If you are brand new to this channel, please subscribe below. I talk more about personal finances, investing, retirement, real estate, so you can find more content just like this one. And if you enjoyed this video today, please give it a like and also leave me a comment below. Which one of these mistakes have you made? Have you made all of them? Are you currently making one? So I'd love to hear more and I'd love to chat with you about it. So I already shared my big one. My big one was financing a car. Now, granted, I've probably done all of these in some capacity, but side story. So leave me a comment below and thank you so much. I hope to catch you on the next video.